Okay. What up, Nick? I'm not actually playing right now, buddy. I'm here to make a TCM guide, but it's much easier to make it for my stream than it is to try to record the footage, for me anyway, so I'm just getting set up to do that right now, since we got all the new players. Okay. Anywho. So, to everyone who's new to the game, welcome to TCM. I am going to go over some basics here, and some little more advanced tips, I guess, try to help some new players out. I can't do anything about the light in here. I don't feel like hanging up another sheet, so my face is bright today, but the main focus is the screen anyway. So, top right, you'll see my lovely level 99 and my chick farting little character icon. Below that you'll see how much XP, and below that you'll see a symbol with a tree. That's how many skill points you have. And in order to earn those, you simply level up like most other games. But once you get those points up there, you need to allocate them to your characters and roll out their trees. So we're going to go to customization, pick who you want. Normally I'm playing Killer, but we'll just go with Nancy. So when you start out, I'll re-roll since I don't care about her. So when you start out, it's gonna look basically like this, and it's gonna be, you won't see all of this though if you're just starting. If you're already have kind of messed around, then you're gonna know what this looks like. So each one of these nodes, every dot counts as one skill point. So in order to roll out your build, you need, for each character, you need about 50. Some maybe a little more, some are like 52, but for the most part, it's going to be 50. So that said, you would want to select each one, pick which way you want to go, so look at the perks, see what might be useful to you in the future. This is always a useful perk for anyone, tracker tagged. It's mainly useful for the slower characters like Hands, Nancy, or Cook. Blood Bucket is great for high blood characters, Bones, Sissy, yada yada. It's actually not bad on Leatherface on occasion if you can't really, if you're not good at chasing the victims constantly or have a lot of downtime, then maybe run that. So, that's a basic breakdown. Don't forget to grab your Grandpa perks. So Grandpa perks are special perks that you only get by leveling up Grandpa. It's one like this. For example, these little ones right here. I'm not going to roll out the whole tree right now, but we'll go to one. I already have one, so any other character. I've got a Sissy here. One of her Grandpa perks, and they're right here. Don't forget to equip them. Got level 1, 2, 3. What these numbers mean basically is what level you get to use the perk, so it automatically becomes equipped for all players. And though for a character, or for a perk like this, Suffocating Grip, it says for the perk holder. But what most people think that that's only for the person who has the perk equipped. It's not. It's actually when Grandpa activates, everyone becomes a perk holder. So all of the killers basically get the perk. So you will, so when you see that for the perk holder, it usually means for everyone when it's a Grandpa perk, and then if it says that on one of these perks, then it's only for the person you are, unless it's a team perk. There are some team perks, like Sissy's Poison can give Leatherface more stamina, or other player, or Johnny more stamina, something to that effect. I'm pretty sure in the skill tree there's something like that. I don't know, it's not really all that useful. Okay, let's see. So that covers that. Oh, and those individual nodes, because there's perks in here, but these individual nodes are your attribute points. So you want to put them all into here. Roll out your build. Savagery is how hard you hit. This is how much blood you pick up. For every character you play, you would probably prefer to have 25 blood. 25 blood harvesting means that when you, or when your tank is full, you have 100, which is one level for Grandpa. with the caveat that Maria doesn't have a specific perk that reduces that. That said, yada yada, you want to have 25 so that you get 100 blood when full. The rest is really up to you, however you prefer to play or what perks that you have here. Scout is very useful on almost any character, makes them move faster, but not every character gets it. For talking victims, everything is all the same. They have a couple extra skills. I will say that stealth is essentially useless, but with a couple little caveats we can go over here in a little bit when I go into game. But stealth, basically, so if you're spamming a toolbox, give or take, you can, or that's going to, so if you tap it, that's going to determine how fast the bar builds up for noise. And if you're holding it, it's determined by proficiency. So when you're picking up a tool, hold it for proficiency, tap it for stealth. If your character has high stealth like Julie, then actually a slow tap is faster than holding it, unless you have 50 proficiency. Just a little tip on some quality of life things. Strength, you don't want to grapple. If you don't have 35 strength, don't grapple. You're most likely going to lose. Even to basic characters like Sissy and Hitchhiker, who have the lowest grapple rating, you still have a good chance of losing. So unless you got, like, Wyatt has good base strength, you can win most grapples off of that, except for hands, maybe. Hands can beat you most of the time, but not every time. You might get lucky. And that's a pretty simple breakdown of the victims. Oh yeah, okay, so here we go. The victim perks, just like killers, have their main tree that's for their ability. Every character will have one. All of it does a little bit of something. Most of them don't stack, so you want to plan accordingly. Sometimes you can't avoid stacking the same perk twice if you want a certain build. Like, for example, we'll go to my hitch, since this is my most prominent build that I always use on my channel. I planned it out so that we have increased damage when they run into a trap by 13%. And then we went middle perk for 28% more difficulty to escape, keeps them in the trap longer, and gives it a potential to deal double damage. And then because they can take damage twice if they spam the release button. And then extra bleed damage. They do start bleeding out once they hit the trap or start taking blood loss damage. And then for his tree, I went Venom, which stacks with that, making the bleed out even worse, meaning if they hit that trap, they usually have to hit well or use a health immediately, otherwise they're going down. And you'd have to have pretty much 50 toughness on someone. I don't know, who do I got high toughness? Yeah, you'd have to have at least 43. 43 is kind of the soft cap in this game for the max tier. So if you think of it like a soft and a hard cap, diminishing returns the higher you get after 43, and up to 50. And 50 is the best. So you pretty much, there's no sense in doing anything other than 43 and 50 in my opinion. So that's what I do. Anywho, yeah, so I went Scout, extra movement speed, and then because I like to know where people are going to be for my traps when they go off, and it helps if you're playing by yourself, solo queue, this is a must. You need Dinner Bell, which will highlight victims. If you don't choose to go the same path I chose with Hitchhiker, and not all of you will, of course, naturally, and then you won't end up with Dinner Bell, so you would then, and you won't end up with Venom either, so then you would want to allocate your perks accordingly. And here, there's this one, which is the same thing as Dinner Bell, but is the level 3 Hitch perk. Honestly, Dinner Bell works better, but a lot longer too. I think the level 3 Hitch perk is like 7 seconds. But I digress. Pick your execution. Basic knowledge helps, so that way you know what to do. If you want to check your stats, these are your stats. Here's mine. Enjoy. Bask in my lack thereof glory. It's not bad. Cook locks added. Yep, blah blah blah. So we're gonna go into the game. I'm gonna show you some in-game tips. So I do believe I can start it with anyone, so I'm going to toss us into not this map. I'll just play Connie. She's probably the best for new players, and we're gonna go to a daytime map. I'll do gas stations, the most balanced map. And we're gonna talk about getting out. And then we'll talk about killer side. Everyone likes playing victim more, so I'm a killer preferred player, so that's what I like to do. Sorry, Virginia. We're escaping. You ain't going nowhere. Okay. So everything you do is noisy in this game, and if a killer has headphones, even walking while crouched is actually audible. Oh, here we go. Switch my controller. Okay. Yeah, so let's get a lockpick. Everything you do is going to make noise, of course. If you're in the beginning of a match, depending on who your killers are, as you see, we have no killers. But depending on who they are, will determine if you want to wake up Grandpa right away. Now, when it comes to having trappers on the team, like, you know, Hitchhiker, Hands, Bones, any of the ones that can set traps, the longer you give them to set up, the worse it's going to be for you when you get up there. Especially with Hitchhiker and Nancy, because they take a little bit of time. And Nancy has that potential to have infinite traps if her perk works. So the longer you sit in one spot, the more you'll bleed. That is a guarantee. So if you sit in one spot, you'll see that the heart on the right is beating, and it starts going down the longer you sit without moving. As you see, it's kind of hard to tell, but the orange will slowly go down. Oh, I know you don't know how to play, Leon. And then, let's see here. So we're going, when you do this, as I said in the menus a little while ago, when you have stealth, you're able to tap, and less of the progress on the left bar, the noise bar, goes up. If you're better in proficiency, then it'll go faster just by holding square. So, and with Connie, if I hadn't made noise first, you can just hold square with her efficiency, and it goes all the way. Anyway, come to pick the locks. I personally find the best way to do the locks is going to be like this. You want to keep the progress below right here. If you see where I'm waving this, the bar on the left, you want the progress bar to be lower than this, because I think that you make more progress when it is. I don't know, you can argue with me all you want, but it feels like it to me, as you see. And then if they come up, you get the chance to do that real quick. So keep the progress bar on your picks very low, if at all possible. That's the best way to do it. So we come up, you know, make all the noise. Don't run when Grandpa screams.
Careful.
Turn yellow, obviously. Okay, so we're going to talk hiding. You got to watch for the killers, know your gaps, check for traps. We're going to talk hiding, because I'm forever sawing up some victims that don't know how to hide in these bushes. So when you hide in the bush, you want to consider where you're going to be seen from. So if I'm sitting right here, where am I going to be seen from? Possibly here, most likely over here. So you want to put your camera there. See how now I'm hidden in the bush? There's no way in hell they come from that angle they are ever going to see me. They come from right here, then I'm an open target. However, I do this, then I'm not. Well, a little bit, but much less. From a distance, you'd never notice. And that's an example. Same with the shades, going to make you even harder to see. You want to position your character in these lumps of grass according to where you might think you're going to get seen from, or where the killer looking for you is. It's going to be your best way to get out. At least as far as hiding is. So we're going to talk exits.
Who the hell are these
You can, of course, we're talking gas station, so if you're Connie, this is the door you want. You always want to go, or this is the easiest one for her. You can pick at this. If you get seen, it's better to just reset. Don't mess around with the killers. The longer you play around, the more health you're going to lose. If you get seen, it's better just to run off. wait a little while, reset. You could hit well if you need to. There's nowhere for you to run. If they've sawed that down and you don't want to run through here and loop them, or if they stay on you, just hit the well. That's pretty much as simple as that. You want to keep picking at the gate until you eventually get it open. So come in here. We got smacked, so we'll heal. Perk's going to kick on because we got the extra drip. So then we could take a hit and still heal up a little bit. Then we come over here and we're going to force the lock. We want to keep the progress down. And then as we're doing it, find the green spot. Oh, they're coming up. Hurry. Alright. Come through, door slam. He's a punk. And then you run on in. And for Connie, this is probably her best bet. Usually, you're going to need to grab lockpick, just like I do after you go through the gate. This is going to lead her lockpicking exit. You could also pick the gate over here, do gen, all options, but the real main focus of this is to get the map open. That's what is hardest as a killer player. That's the hardest thing to deal with, is when the map is open and there's nothing you can do to stop it. So you pick through Cook's locks, and then he's useless after that, except for to listen to you. So you're moving slow with Cook and Johnny. If you have a Cook and a Johnny, you want to move without holding your run button, your L1. Don't press X or whatever, A if you're on Xbox. You don't want to press X. You just want to walk slow. You won't leave footprints. You will not be heard. That's basically how you sneak around with them. But point being, you want to sneak around, get the map open. So once the map's open, then they have to deviate their patrols. They have to do more. So let's go grab another lockpick, open it up. Just for example's sake, there's not one here. Could do the fuse. I will be doing that in a moment. There's a lockpick in here. You want to keep track of where these spawns are.
Just think.
Okay, we're going to grab 2, just in case the perk doesn't go off. So the perk with Connie, the one in particular I'm using, has a 40% chance of not consuming the lockpick. And it sounds great in practice, but some maps you just never get it to go off. Other times it goes off every time and you never have to pick up another one. So it's usually better to always leave the basement with what you need. Leave with 2, leave with 1 and a scrap if you think you might need the bone scrap for something. Now, that said, Bomb Squad is the most useful perk in the game, I think, right now, besides extra drip, because of the ability to disarm traps for free. And with as many trappers as there is, you could have 3 trappers in one map. If you don't have Bomb Squad, there's not even a point in playing, because you ain't going nowhere. If you got a hands, you ain't getting fuse, you ain't getting valve, you ain't doing nothing. Not without a full team coordination. So, come over here. The higher your proficiency is going to be the faster you can get battery off, of course. I have 43 or something on Connie, and so it's not as fast as it could be. But hey, you know, you can time however long that is, about 5 seconds, 6 seconds. A little faster if you have 50. And with her ability, keep in mind, once you use it, you don't recharge stamina for a short time, and your yellow aura goes away when you have a killer around you. So that's something to bear in mind. You know, see, as I use stamina now, it's not going to recharge when I stand still. So you don't want to, unless you absolutely have to, you don't want to use her ability on a empty stamina bar, otherwise you're going to be sitting duck. Okay, so let's grab the fuse now. So we made it in here, but Daddy Cook locked the gate because we messed around and found out. So now we're going to go back and let's do some fuse. Come on, Connie Bone. Yeah, door slam, punk. Thought you were going to get me. Alright. Going back into house. So, fuse, spots. There's usually always a valve and a fuse in here. If not, there's a valve out here and a fuse in that shack. Every fuse spawned in this layout for some reason, so we got everything good to be the god layout. Ah, yes. While I'm here, thank you for reminding me, old part. So while you're here, don't forget to service Grandpa, and while you're also here, don't forget to stab him. When you turn yellow is a bad thing, so crouch in front of Grandpa. Once he sees you, crouching doesn't help you. You need to walk out of his sight, then crouch. Don't get in front of his eyes, or that happens. It has a short range about right there. Now, the higher his level, the farther this range. See, now he doesn't see us. He's level 0, so what, 10 feet? 10 feet in front of his face. You can get up right beside him, it doesn't matter. Anyway, so let's go in here, show the fuse. You need a lockpick, and you need a fuse. You don't need them both at the same time. You can always open and come back with a fuse later. Gotta get the fuse in. Hands can rip it out, and he will as soon as he sees it. So only put it in, and you can run out of fuses, so only put it in when you are absolutely sure you can do it. Then it's simple as lining up the color with the number. So you see here you need 10 amps. So you got a green with a 4, yellow with a 6. Perfect. Then you get an 8 with a blue, and a 5 with a red. Fuse is done. Now if you have one of the other perks, it can, I forget what it's called right now, but there's another perk you can grab with some of the characters that makes it stay open for the full time, or 30 seconds or whatever. It's pretty much enough time for you to get across any map just to get to it, and they can't shut it unless you have hands. So that's always a consideration. Let's grab a valve and go over a little bit about the valve for new players. Let's see. Okay, so we're going to grab this valve handle. They're always scattered across the map. Graveyard, I don't even entirely know where they are in Graveyard. I know there's one through the right generator gate, and the rest of them are all pretty easy to find. Just look for those loopholes, the red. Now, this is the setup you want to have, not with Connie. You want to have usually Leland, Anna, Virginia, someone with a little bit of strength, a little bit of toughness. And that was the fuse shutting. And once you have someone with a little bit of toughness, you're good for Valve. Now, that said, if you have a toughness character like Anna and you add some points into proficiency, you can be even better at Valve. You can get it off faster and be much more efficient at it. Or proficiency Leland is another good option. So the higher your proficiency, the faster you can turn the valve on. So see, I have a high proficiency with Connie, so we can actually get it on pretty quick. We just can't grapple very well. So when they would come up to turn it off, which I can't actually do because I'm not a killer, but when they turn it off, they're going to turn for 3 full cycles. 1, 2, and 3. And before they get that 3rd cycle, you need to stab them in the back. And it's going to prolong how long it lets this go off. As you see, it's in the red. You need to get it all the way to the end of the green bar, 100%, in order to get it off. Danny can pamper it and keep it open forever. Well, for like 5 minutes, I don't know. It stays open for a really long time. And I didn't time it exactly. It's like 2 minutes or something, and which is like an eternity. So if not, then yeah, you got to keep stabbing, pressuring, grappling, doing the thing. That's why it's good with a Leland or a Anna. Virginia can be annoying with her poison. She can blind. Put a little bit of pressure up. So we're going to talk generator. So generator is usually always, if you don't know where the generator is, you can always, and you see a yellow cable on the ground, follow it. Always lead you to the generator and the gate that it connects to. Every map has one. Most of you have probably seen it and ran into the gate by now. So we need a lockpick. So we're gonna do making all the noise. Daddy Cook hears us. Alright. Oh, we got our ability back. Now, with Connie's ability, by the way, as you saw, I had to hold a direction. It used to be you just pressed R1 and tap square and it did it automatically. Now, you have to hold a certain direction when you do it. So just hold any direction after you tap R1. It's been screwing with some people lately. Most of you new players won't even know that, though, unless they change it. So after you get the gate for Gen open, you simply got to kick it off. The higher your strength, just like with battery, the higher your proficiency, the faster it goes off. With generator, higher your strength. So we're going to kick, because I have like 15 strength with Connie, it's going to take like 20 kicks. As you see, that's going to take forever. That's a long wait. So Connie's not exactly meant for Gen, but hey, you do what you gotta sometimes. We can't let Daddy Cook beat us down. Because if you get cooked, that's just sad. So, that kind of roughly sums up a good portion of it. Let's talk hiding spots. That is another weird thing that the game kind of throws at you, but is not overly useful. Let's find one. I thought there was one in there. Let's go find a hiding spot, guys. Pick this gear. Okay. See, the higher you have up that bar, I think the slower it goes. See how much faster? I feel like it takes less taps.
Okay, let's see
There
where this
we go.
goes.
Perfect. Okay, so hiding spots. So you come in, continue. Oh, okay, yeah. Just because I'm taking forever. Oh, as you see now, the heart is yellow. I think that all that does is determine the rate at which you bleed out. Oh, don't forget bone scrap. Cut down bone chimes. It's helpful. Unless you have the perk where it's not helpful. And anywho, using perks that involve you jumping in hiding places is essentially useless because it's very few and far between you're going to have a chance to use one. Normally, the only character it's going to be good anyway on is Leatherface because he's already making so much noise, he won't hear this. All that noise that she just made, they can hear. Like, and some of them squeak too. What's the usually the straight up and down cabinets in some of the other levels. I don't think there's one in here, in this map, but they kind of look like an up and down bookshelf like that. Those ones are really squeaky when you go into them, or like the cabinets on Family House. So those are not exactly the best option. Each of them sounds different, but either way, when you go on one, it's as an absolute last resort. Now, if you go into it to avoid getting hit, do note they can grab you when you get out, but sometimes you can avoid the hit afterward if you're quick. You know, they would grab you, toss you out, then you just run, you know, dancing here. He may get one swing, he may not. You might get lucky. That's another option, but not overly useful. So, I think that, trying to think if there's anything else we should go over. Chickens, they're annoying. You can stab them, turn them into chicken nuggets. If they have the chicken perk, it's even more annoying, and the distance is horrendous. So I think that about covers it. Let's head over and go out our gen gate. Well, actually, we need to open every exit. Why not, guys? Let's open every one.
Careful.
Shut up, chickens. Oh, if you alert a chicken and then stand near it, as you see, it's going to continue going off, even if you're crouched. You have to walk away from the chicken, let the red go, or let the chicken stop clucking. There. Now you can go back. See? Because I see people all the time alert the chicken, then crouch and act like it's not gonna go off still. And it always is. Of course, I need another lockpick.
Please.
The noise with those crawl gaps is entirely determined by stealth, and you don't want to hold square, you just want to tap it. But I don't know, most people just spam them in the moment anyway. There's kind of no point in being stealthy with those unless you've gotten through a gate. Like if you're over here and no one knows you're over here yet, and you're trying to get these gates out quick, do not alert a chicken, do not pick up that fast. Try not to slam the gates when you go in, shut things behind you, latch doors, that way Daddy Cook can't get us, he's going to have to break that down. Now if you want to help out your fellow victims, you can open that. If you want to screw over the family, you can leave it shut, because if they don't have a sissy or a hitchhiker or somebody who can crawl through that, then they have to break down the door. So that's always an option. Use Connor's ability, get on out, and then here we go. And then, now, take it from someone who's effed around and found out. Don't F around and find out too much, because some of these crazy killers like me will get you, eventually. And it will embarrass you, and you'll uninstall, and then we won't have any more new players, so we can't have that. Look at that, we escaped. Leatherface, Daddy Cook didn't get us. Alright, so now let's go back in and we're gonna talk Hitchhiker. Alright. And by popular request, we're gonna play Family House. Simply because people want to know the window trap. Everyone asks me the window trap. So let's do the window trap. We're gonna talk family methods. From Hitchhiker's point of view, you can't go in the basement, which is not what you should be doing anyway, so that works out to our benefit. Because if you go in the basement and there's not 2 or less victims left, then you're probably a clown and they're probably gonna get out. Leatherface starts down there, he can't help it, but once they start getting upstairs, which is another point we're gonna bring up here in just a moment, to have control. So until they decide to take this away from us and annoy us too, you can check points. And by checking points, it's going to tell you how far the victims have gotten if you're a killer. So, and it just like as a victim, it can tell you a few things about the killer's side, like if they're feeding, yada yada. You know, if they have their traps up, it can tell you a few things. But for the most part, checking your points is going to tell you how far the victims have gotten. So, unless it's a double XP weekend, that most victims are going to get about 250 points if they get out of the basement. 200 to 250. So when you see them up about 150, 175, you know someone's about picked a door and they're about ready to leave the basement, and or they may already be sneaking up the stairs. So you got to worry about that, if they've woken up Grandpa, of course. So beyond that. Okay, no one's done anything yet. We just started, so we're going to look. And first things first, on a Family House game with Hitchhiker, you definitely need to come in. And if you look, there is a triangle of grass right here. There is 1. See this? Look at the circle of my trap. 1, a 2, a 3. This one. So, and if you look up, there's an open gap right here. There's an open gap here. So, you want to see the open gap here, that's where they land. As you can see, it's indented from all the victims landing there. You come up, you put your ring on your trap right there. You can even stand in the blank spot, that's how I used to line it up, perfect too. When I learned it, was I'd come up, stand right here, and then pull it out, move it back. There, every time they're going to come out when they stand up, or they're going to lay like right here. When they stand up, their foot's going to go dink right into the trap, and then you get to laugh, and it also gives you the amount of time you need when you come out this door to lock it. It will always give you the amount of time. Even if they have a bone scrap, take the time, lock the door. You don't need another person to do it necessarily, like I said. So, you know, oh shoot, they're diving out the window. Anna's being a punk, so you come over here, open, they've hit the window, hit the ground, boom, trap, you got time, then he started running. That's about the time that you would have. That's literally about what it would be. So, we go in. Now, playing killer, first things first, you should never be in the basement. Chasing into the basement is almost always a bad idea unless you are 80% certain you can get them. So if they're very injured, if they're not a grapple character like Connie or Danny, for example. Connie or Danny are characters you would want to chase in the basement. They're kind of slow and lumbering. They're main targets because of their abilities. Connie can blow open the locks. Danny can permanently tamper open a thing for a long time. So first things you're going to want to do is, if you're playing Hitchhiker, for example, set up your traps. So, you know, we got the window one set up, so you're going to consider what are they going to do. But and that's how you're going to want to base your traps. So, you know, you got to consider this is Family House. Connie's going to want back door or front door. That's the 2 most dangerous things for Connie. So what do? You trap front door. It's my usual setup for Family House. Works for the most part. It's not a guarantee, none of them are, but it helps a lot. Then you can set the other one here. If you do not have a cook, then you would want to put it right here. Now, obviously, they're going to see the trap and try to disarm it. And so there's two things you can do about this.
Grandpa taught me this little
One, you can do your job, which is make patrols, which is what you're supposed to do as a killer. Constantly running around, looking, checking behind stuff. Don't take too much time. Sometimes get quiet, listen. You can hear footsteps, especially in the houses like this. You can hear them creak on the floors upstairs. And it's actually pretty detailed. I've caught many victims upstairs without even knowing they're up there, just because I hear the wood creaking as they're tromping across the floor with the headphones. I mean, it's just how it is. So, anyway, back door. So we're looking, and one of the things that you can do to check your trap is this. As you see, you can check all of your traps. Doesn't work like Sissy can't check Hitchhiker's traps, and Hitchhiker can't check Hans's. You can only check your own. Same with Cook's locks. You can do the same thing. Now, Hans is the caveat, because though you can see his traps, you can't tell if his are undone from a distance, so it's essentially useless. So with Hans, you have to physically go see if the electricity is still on the gate. And it doesn't mean you have to walk up. If you get good at noticing the flicker, then you can see it. Like, if you put it out on this gate, on this house's Hans, and see how it's in the shade, you can kind of tell from a distance. You'll see the little flicker of the electricity. Kind of like how my face is like neon white right now. So, and hiding as a victim in hiding or in dark spots is okay in this map. This map is just impossible for victims. It really is. And if you have a family who doesn't know what they're doing, new players, then it's going to be much easier, of course. Oh, Grandpa just naturally awoke. I forgot that he did that. It's been so long since it's happened. Okay, well that means I can go to the basement and talk about some stuff. So here's a primary reason why you don't want to chase in the basement. Unless you have certain builds which are more equipped for it, or the victims don't know what they're doing. Like, if you have wireframe, you can get through the gaps faster. But in a case like this, if you have someone looping you right here, this is a popular loop, you cannot catch them. You might get a hit off here if they take forever, if opening that or whatever. But if they're looping you through there, running back and forth through these crawl gaps, you will not kill them. You can chase them for 20 minutes, and you're never going to get them with certain characters. The slower ones, if they don't have a lot of endurance, which with victims anyway, you generally want to have 40 endurance, because if you don't, then unfortunately you're going to be recharging your stamina forever and running out when you don't need to. With Killer, it really depends on your perks. So with Hitchhiker, I put a little bit into endurance because I'm running Scout, so it recharges slower. So I put a little bit in endurance to compensate for that. You know, you kind of want to need to adjust your build to what you think you're going to need to do for every map or for any given character. So as a killer, you're going to need to do patrols. Number one thing, always patrol. If you're a blood build, then you're going to be grabbing blood as you patrol. But don't necessarily go too far out of your way to get the blood buckets. If you still have all the victims or 3 or 4 victims in the game, you know, you don't want to go upstairs collecting blood buckets right now when there's, you know, one person here and then Johnny inevitably in the basement, because every Johnny goes to the basement, even though everyone tells him not to. So you're gonna leave this whole place vulnerable. Okay, so Anna came up, Hitchhiker's on her. So then what happens to the front half if you're upstairs getting blood? Well, guess what? Connie's already gone out the front door, completely avoided the window trap. Now my window trap's useless. Front door is unlocked, and then the whole game's over. Like, it's pretty much done. Once the map's open on this map, it's almost over. So the trick is to get it done in the first 3 minutes of the game, pretty much. As I said in the other maps, if you need to know where the gen is, generally you can see the yellow cord. You can see it on this map. It's just hidden right here in the grass. Used to be a lot more obvious, but it's not anymore. But anyway, it goes all the way down the driveway to the end of the fence. As most of you have probably seen, you dive out the window, get through the door, however you do it. Get over here, kick off the gen. Hitchhiker kicks with his hands, as you see. And you gotta run all the way down. If you go back there, battery, same thing. Turn off battery, pick one gate. Easy enough. This map is actually pretty big, and so when you get it open, it makes it so much harder. Which is why I said, you know, if you're a killer, do not let them get it open. If you do not have a cook on this map, then your patrols need to be tight. Like, you need to be doing, one person needs to be running this way that I am, the other one's running this way, and you guys are meeting each other and making out in the middle. Like, that's how it's supposed to work. You know, you can take alternate paths, find a route you like, go through here. A great spot for hitchhiker is right here. I love using this. This is funny. And a great thing is you can actually see all the way to the crawl gap out there in the garden center. I call it the garden center, but anyway, so you can see literally right here. So they come through this gap, and you can see them from right here. So that's a great one to watch. Another great spot for hitchhiker is, or any character who can crouch, is right here, because you can watch in there and see the ladder room. So if they come across the ladder, they're going to be up there going across in the distance. You can see down the stairs, you can watch here, and you can watch the garden, all in one swoop. Perfect spot to hide and wait for an unsuspecting punk to come on out. And another option as killers is latching doors, breaking them down. Johnny's the best one for it, of course. Hands is second best. Leatherface is domineering to all, of course. But actually, Johnny's still better for doors. He's faster. But Johnny does it in 2, Hands in 4, and everyone else in 5. If the victims have the perk that makes it take more, it can be up to 8 for Hitchhiker and Sissy, and it's really annoying. But not very many people use that perk, so it's okay. And so, yeah, latching doors and doing it is going to prevent the whole door slam, or if you're Leatherface especially, sawing them down is going to prevent the whole, you're right behind them going, ooh, and then right before you go to swing, they go right in your face, and then you're running into the door, into the corner, and then you got to go like this, open the door. I'm sure you guys have done it if you've played Leatherface. If not, I know you've all done it to a Leatherface at some point. Shut the door like that, and then they run into the wall. Happens all the time. If you're a victim, don't forget trapping lamps is kind of useful, because if you just turn it off, and sometimes one of us is going to come back here and think, well, maybe we'll turn it on, then we get shocked. It's kind of amusing, but at least right now with the influx of new players, it's going to be a great option. Don't forget to trap your stuff. Window dives, talking about that, this is really the only map that it kind of matters. The other maps have, like Nancy's house has a window or two, but in all honesty, it doesn't matter too much, because those windows in that map are only as a last resort, and if you're diving out that window, you're about dead anyway, so you don't got to worry about the damage. Now in this map, you worry about the damage. So this is the one map where the window dive perk, like the stunt double perk, is very, very useful for windows anyway. So you dive out the window there, you're going to be able to get up much faster than I can get out here, and you'll already be in the trap before I can even do anything. So I'm going to have to be right on you and not have time to lock the door, or lock the door and risk having you halfway to the gen already, and me having then you getting to the loop. Like, that's an option there. And so those are kind of things you want to consider. Feeding Grandpa, as you know, it's going to take 100 blood to max him out. If, what is her name? Maria. If Maria has a certain perk, when she sweet talks Grandpa, the next feeds do, like, less, they give him less blood. So if you had 100, it would then give him 80 or whatever. It's like 20% less at the max level, so that's a great perk to use for her, and is pretty oppressive to the family. Unless you have Bones. Bones' blood build right now is overpowered, and it's ridiculous, so he's picking up, you know, depending on his build, you know, 3 buckets and getting 160 blood. That's a level and a half. 2 of those, he's already level 3. If you don't have Agitator, then your victims are screwed, and so that's why you need to run Agitators if you got a Bones. If you got a Bones, you want Sunny or Leland, that way you got Agitator perk. Agitator's going to take away 3 levels from us as family, and it would also take away your Grandpa perks. So with each level, so if you got all 3 Grandpa perks, you stab with Agitator, and then you're going down to level 0. You're starting from fresh, buddy, and there ain't nothing that you can do about it. So that is one of the most oppressive perks when it comes to victim side. Another small note, just as my personal preference, I don't personally think that so people think that just because you have choose fight, you can win the grapples. That's another thing. I can't show you guys exactly the grapple method, but basically you're gonna do like tap 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 tap, like slow to fast is kind of how the pacing works for the grapples. And if you have choose fight, it's gonna make the killer stand there longer. Now that said, you still need points into strength. Choose fight does not guarantee you're gonna win that grapple. If you don't have enough points in strength, or if we have, for example, if I get Grandpa to level 1 and I have suffocating grip, which makes me have more progress towards winning those close encounters as a killer. And the stronger your killer, the more that's prominent. So if you have hands and you have suffocating grip, unless you're basically Leland with 50 strength, you're not losing, or you're not winning a grapple. And hands is not losing. So we got 100 blood, we feed level 1, suffocating grip, and then he's going to scream, highlight anyone moving, yada yada. Now, come at me, Leland. No, you can still lose with suffocating grip if they have a high enough strength, or if they just happen to tap better than you that time. There is a pattern to it. If you spam it, you're going to lose a lot of the time. So keep that in mind. I can say it 100 times, and I'll say it again 100 times. That noise, remember that noise, guys. I see all the victims hide in these spots. That squeak. I can hear that from across the map. I can hear it upstairs from down here. You get into one of these, and I'm near you. I'm coming for you. I will hear it, and I will come and get you. They're not good hiding spots. Those are the ones I was talking about on the other map. The better ones are ones in here, like in Hitchhiker's Room. That's a lot less noise. Now, it makes less noise when a victim goes into it than does when a killer opens it. But that said, another thing to keep in mind if you're playing, this is a team game. As killers, it's very hard playing solo queue. If you're not using comms, so if you have a microphone, use it. You'll have a much better playing experience, just trust me. We're coming in at the top right, you got room names. You know, as you play, you want to start memorizing major areas. You know, this is the living room. You got the den. As we say, back of house. I just usually say this is back porch. And then over here is the gore room, or I say ladder room, because the ladder's right there. You know, you kind of want to have names for it. This is the kitchen, of course, where the famous scene happens, and where I like to recreate it with Connie on occasion if I catch her below the face. And then, breaking down doors. You sometimes want to do as killers just because to avoid the door slams, but as I said, it's not necessarily a thing that you have to do. I personally, if I break down doors, it's only because everyone else has already got them latched for me to do so. I don't go out of my way to do it because I like the door slam battles. Come on now, who doesn't like a little bit of battle? Gotta have a little bit of fun in the game, huh? It's the best part. Door slamming, it basically it's gonna be who's gonna try to open it first, and one of you's gonna get it. There really isn't. It's all about timing and getting it right. You both are gonna try to bait each other and get the slam, and eventually, you know, it's gonna come open the other way. One of you's gonna get hit, and then whoever wins gets the runaway. Either if you're a victim, you get to run away. If you're a killer, you get the free swing. Pretty simple. It's the best part about the game. It really is. If they had this in any other game, it might just put it in the dirt. But hey, we still love TCM. We have a lot of fun here. So that pretty much covers it. As long as you're doing patrols with killer, that's all you need to worry about. Use your killer instinct like that. Turn everything black and white. See where everything is. You can actually still see if the valve handles are on there. See if the fuses are in there. You can see if the fuse box is open from there. As you saw, it's closed because there ain't no one here. But yes, and if you're standing like this and you had it active, you could even see that the fuse is missing. It's all about the right angle. Keep note, if you highlight with Cook, you need to have the all families see noise perk. Otherwise, they are not going to turn red. So, we're gonna talk Cook. I want to talk a little more about each character as a killer. So, oh, and another thing too, for anyone who doesn't like watching these, there's always tutorials. It's gonna show you how, for each character, how it works, a little bit about them, blah blah blah. Gonna show you everything that I'm basically talking about. I took them all in the very beginning. Most people didn't even know that they're there. Anyway, to further that, so we go into the characters. We're talking Cook. So Cook strats. Okay, basically you're the sonar. You're the radar. So your one job is to make sure that the family can hear all the victims. So if you're running Cook and you don't have all family see noise and you're level 3 Cook, then there is absolutely almost no use for you. Because once your locks are gone, there's no use for you. You are absolutely nothing for the team. So you need this perk. It will make them red every time you highlight. Now to highlight, I can't exactly show you by myself right now, but to highlight, you want to go back and forth over the victims and then let go of your stick and it'll suck in on them. Then after they highlight, there's going to be a cooldown, but you can subvert the cooldown by going away from them and going right back onto them, and then it'll start attracting them again. You can get multiple highlights in a row over and over and over on the same victim and help keep pinging them for your family, or for whoever's chasing them. That's a great way to help out during a chase. So if you know that someone's getting chased, start highlighting. It gets you points. Cook is the easiest one to farm points with. If you want to level up, start highlighting. Playing Daddy Cook. He really is one of the best characters, believe it or not. And this is the best way to run his tree. It takes the longest to recharge, but it gives you the longest use and lets everyone see the marked victims. As far as executions go, you can really pick what you like, but or what you've bought. But I tend to pick the ones that are a little bit shorter, because the faster you can get out of the execution, the faster you can get onto things. Because sometimes there's a case where, like, you know, 2 of them are down in front of you, and you want to try to be able to maybe catch the other one, so you need a quick execution. You know, the fastest executions I think are like Leatherface, but even so, you can still get some pretty quick ones with some of the other characters. You know, the beat down, like with Daddy Cook. This one's funny. You know, it's great for the movie, or from the movie and stuff. You know, beating Hitch down, but it also takes the longest. So you're going to be sitting there for quite a while, and then you know, beating down a victim until you can do anything else. This is probably the best grandpa perk. Exterior alarms. Doors highlight yellow for 10 seconds after a victim opens them, and that's going to let you control the game and finish it out. This perk is useless because it's level 2. By then, the doors would already be barged. And then, if they were getting that way, and then chicken detection, and it's kind of useful. Security pins with Cook. Always need this. If you're not running security pins with Cook, again, you're useless. Like, they need to make it so security pins is in every build with Cook, so we can actually use some of his other builds. Like, it needs to be at the bottom. As you see, security pins is not. So they need to put it like right here, somewhere right here. So you have to get it first, and then you pick your tree, because with this is the only way to play Cook right now. You need this perk. Other than that, his locks are utterly... It's just like a second lock. You just need 2 lockpicks. That's all it does. Without that. And now, that said, if you have a character like for Hitch, I have it. If you have this perk, this Nobody Escapes Hell makes Cook's locks damn near impossible if you have security pins. It will also make normal locks in the game as hard as if there was a Cook lock on it. So it's a great grandpa perk to run. I don't know how many of the killers get it. I only think I have it for Hitchhiker, to be honest. I have it for Bones. No. But yeah, I think I only have it for Hitch. But that is a great option for perks anyway, as far as what to run. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about Leather. Now, I need to go into a game for this. So, we're going to talk a little bit about Leatherface. He is the hardest killer to play, but he's also the most, sometimes the most necessary. So, what map should we talk with Leatherface? I mean, we'll just talk this map. So, this is my Leatherface build. I'm going to talk about the character. We'll go back about the build here in a minute. Talk about how to play him. This is called the one-shot build, of course. It's designed to be able to to be able to hit them once and then hit the second time when they, like, you hit the overhead and then it knocks them down, of course, and then that second swing is where you kill them. So it's a two-shot build, but it's still considered the one-shot, is what it's called. In order to activate it all the way, you want to have full blood. So if you have a kill already, it's great. If not, you can collect some blood, so on and so forth. So with Leatherface, you gotta start your chainsaw. First thing first. Now you can run Silent Bubba. You can also do the Bubba Teabag by pressing the start and circle at the same time. Anyway, so with him, he has a stamina bar. You can hold L1. It does expend his stamina when he, just like any other character, when he runs out. Though he just runs slower and he doesn't stamp out when he swings. Now, what can happen though, and what is a little interesting about him is you don't need to hold his stamina bar, but it still goes down, and here's how you want to do it. So you hold the trigger, and you watch that red bar go up down there at the bottom. See the L2? Once it gets above 3/4, he starts sprinting. Works like that with either of the chainsaws. Now, with the Nicotero chainsaw, it only whistles when it's time to swing. See? Now it's whistling. Now it's time to swing. So when I swing, I won't stall. See? I still have some progress left on that bar. So now I just hold L2, get it back up, and now I can hold both at the same time and run while it goes up, so I can keep up the pace. And then once it starts, then I only need to hold L2 and keep up the taps. And then you just tap it like this as you run around. Keep that whistle ready. Make sure it's oppressive. You know, if you need to, run in circles. Don't let it overheat like that. Otherwise, that's what happens. Now, you can't saw down barricades without it started. But sawing down barricades is very useful. In a gas station, it's pretty much necessary if you want to find anyone in the basement, or if you want to have a chance of getting them at fuse box exit, because sometimes they can be blocked in and the victim can just sit there and there's nothing you can do if you don't have the right characters. It can just be a stalemate game. So you definitely want to saw things down. In this map in particular, if you're playing Leatherface, I gotta wait till he wakes up. If you're playing Leatherface, there's a barricade upstairs which generally blocks off the fuse. That's one thing you definitely need to go up and saw as consideration. So you don't want to take too long in the basement for that reason, is that there's sometimes things you want to do upstairs to help out, help prolong the match, you know, make sure they don't get out. So you're going to want to pay very close attention to when they're picking the locks. Like, for example, this basement, you can monitor most of them. So if you came over here, first things first, you sawed down this door. So they can't hide behind the corner and door slam you, because this is a very egregious one for that. But then you can sprint back and forth, where you can saw down all the doors. And you can watch that one, this one, and that one all in one run with Leatherface. So, meaning the only door that they can get out easily is maybe this one, because it takes you a little while to get back here, or the tunnel, just as an example of what you want to do with Leatherface in the beginning of the match. Saw down some barricades, pick yourself a path, and start mowing down. Once they've woken up Grandpa, the doors are open. So, when that happens, I'll go upstairs, and the first thing you want to do is immediately see where your other killers are. So you check your Grandpa ability. Okay, Grandpa's there. He's patrolling the living room. So then, you know, if Cook was up there guarding Fuse, you know, so, and suppose Grandpa's actually Hitchhiker. He's sitting in the living room. So then we know, and they just woke up Grandpa, that we need to go upstairs, and we need to position ourselves back here, because there's no one on this part of the house. So think about that. You got someone in the front of the house in the living room, got one person upstairs guarding fuse, so what's open? Back. So that's where you need to be. Always check your ability, try not to let it run out. If it runs out, this little family instinct, it recharges slower, so try to stop it before it runs out. It'll come back a little bit faster. And just use it for a second, be quick, turn your sensitivity up. If you're using a mouse and keyboard, your sensitivity is like infinite. If you're using a controller, it's not, and you have to deal with this fast. And so, you kind of got to just look around real quick, give it a quick spin, see where everyone's at, know where you got to go, and immediately start revving. Now, with Leatherface, if you turn it off, it is an option because he is actually very quiet. His footsteps are thumpy, but he doesn't make very much noise other than that, unless he has his chainsaw going. So then you can literally just sneak up on him if, you know, you can stand here, quiet in this room, they don't know where you're at. His range isn't very long either. And all of a sudden, oh, Connie's on the door, okay. Then, you know, she's gonna hear it right behind her, gonna start running. See her go through the gap. Missed. Oh, darn. Well, saw it down. Don't forget, sawing down blocks the loop. Some maps this is very necessary, other maps not really. But always an option. Another strat for this map, side note guys, when you start as Leatherface, latch that door. That'll slow him down a little bit, force him to go to side guard instead of coming back through, or force him to go through the middle loop, which puts them in your view. And when they bust down that door, hey, that woke up Grandpa, finally. Cool. Yeah, messing with Leatherface wakes up Grandpa too sometimes, so if you're messing with Leatherface, stabbing him, whatnot, that can wake him up. So suppose they woke up Grandpa. Okay, if all these doors were shut, I know they got up side garden, so I can either, that would be my choice. You can decide what you want to do. You got to think ahead. So you're going to go to the back and chase them up the ladder, which they're probably already climbing as you speak, or you can run up here, try to cut them off. So you know if those doors are closed, right where you're going. Alright, and then get open. See, this is why you want to saw down doors Leatherface, so you can keep up your speed. You want to be able to keep that rev, keep that chase. So if on this map, this way you want to saw down doors, because then, or break him down before Leatherface gets upstairs for him, so that way he can come up just immediately and start wrecking people. Alright, sorry Dallas, sawed you in the head. Thrusting with Leatherface, give it a thrust. When they're going through, you need to manage. So one of the tricks for getting a good thrust, because you can get thrust kills and they're very, very lucrative. If you in-cap them with a thrust kill, they're dead for the most part. I think they might have fixed it now so that they don't die immediately, because I've been having some who've lived lately and normally they don't live. So I'm not exactly sure, but I just assumed if you kill them with a thrust, they're dead. And or in-cap them with the rest, they're dead. But either way, so you want to stop your sprint with Leatherface. You want to know that it's coming. So you see with him, it's going to take about 2 seconds to slow down. See, and then there, go through, you bam, and then you would have gotten a hit or two off of him, and you know, caused a little bit of blood damage. Just a little tip of Leatherface that I can think of. Other than that, you're just gonna, if they're like baiting you, you know, you can always, or if they're looping you, you can always run into something like this and stay there and watch them. So if he's right on the other side of there, you know, wait till you catch him off like that. I've caught many people off that way, you know, they think, or sometimes they'll think that you're bugged, because in this game when you get bugged, you run into walls like infinitely. So that is another good option. You'll instantly be running into walls like that. For example, or you can set up a trap, and then they think you're doing something, and then you come over and get her on the door. Yep, I'm still doing my guide, and running around like crazy, Nick. Yeah, anyway, so that's the kind of basics of what you want to do for Leatherface. You know, there's always options. Running with stealth usually isn't the way. Now, final tip, if you're having trouble finding victims with Leatherface, one thing you can use is this ability, because it mutes his chainsaw and any voice lines when, like, come out loud. As you see, you heard his gasp really loud there. Any victim voice lines, when they usually spit out a lot of stuff or say some things whenever Leatherface comes by, so it's a great thing to do is to listen to that, because Leatherface usually triggers them to say something, and if you're having trouble finding him, that'll be a good option. If you don't think you can get the overhead, don't take the overhead. You don't have to overhead swing. Just so long as while you're doing normal swing, you watch your bar. So, you know, you keep it up here, do a swing, you know, as you're swinging, you want to keep holding the other one. Watch the bar, see as it goes up or back down. The higher the red, the more damage you deal. So, you want to keep sawing the bar down. Now, the worst time to swing is right there, right when he starts running. If you swing right when he starts running, it's almost a guaranteed stall. See? Almost every time. I probably wasn't playing Texas today, Nick. I'm making this video and I gotta go edit it. But once you, it's just easier for me to make it by stream. Anyway, once you rev here, you would need to get it up to about 80 to 90%. With the Nicotero, it's the easiest because you can hear the whistle. The other chainsaw whistles when you start running. It whistles here at like 3/4, and so it's not very useful as far as a good cue. But that's why I use this one. It's just much better for me. I can just listen and I know the sound right when it gets up there like that. Time to swing. Then you got enough for another swing. Follow up, dead. Right there. Just that easy. So, we're talking Leatherface builds. Best Leatherface build, I think, is, of course, the one-shot build. That's what I'm using here. We got Big Swings, Serrated, Valiant. Big Swings, you get more stamina consumption tied to your swings. Okay, with Leatherface, as you know, his stamina doesn't matter because he can sprint with an empty stamina bar. And so, but when you stop his run, then if you try to hold L1, it won't work. You know, like other characters, or if you try to hold the left bumper up here to move faster, he will just run slower, because that's all the stamina does for him. It doesn't control his swings. What controls his swings is the rev meter at the bottom right. So as long as that meter is not at 0, then you're going to be swinging away, and you're fine. And so that's just free damage for Leatherface at all times. There's no reason not to use this, and if you have it. And then Serrated, and that's 15% more damage, mind you. So if you're already dealing 50, if you rev this up to 90, you're going to be dealing like 70 damage. Then you add another 15% onto that. So 15% of 50 is what, roughly 12. So add another 12 damage on that. You're doing about 80 damage, which is why it's called the one-shot build, because you deal about 80 or 90 damage, and then that final follow-up swing is more than enough to finish them off. So if you consider damage from 100, which I know there's probably more to it than that, but I'm just, giving you a small little breakdown of it. But Serrated, gonna take blood damage for the next 5 seconds. Serrated is a perk that stacks, guys. So not all the perks in this game stack, but some of them do. This is one of them. I don't know how many stacks you can get exactly. Probably 3 to 5, I'd assume. Any more than that would be too overpowered, but I know it can get at least 3. So you can hit them and they're going to bleed out they'll take 15 damage basically out of this. So 1 damage for the next 5 seconds, then they're going to take 3 damage for the next 5 seconds. And it's great for keeping track of where they're going, as well as just, draining out that little bit. Like if you get them down very, very low, they bleed out, they're going to collapse in front of you. I'm sure some of you have seen it happen, or it's happened to you. And then Valiant is an extra 20% more damage with a full blood vial. So that's why I consider this the best Leatherface build. It's just pure damage. He already is fast enough, I think. Now the alternate build with Leatherface that everyone really pivots to is the Scout build, and I don't think I've ever built Leatherface into it. I've always used the Yeah, see, as you guys see, I've always used the one-shot build with Leatherface, because I just know it's better. But the Scout build is up here because you get rough cut with it. It's straight up, and Scout will make him move much faster. Personally, especially on a map like Graveyard with a really complex or tight basement, something like Family House has a lot of crap in the way that you need to maneuver him around while running overhead. Scout is a lot harder to deal with, and if you don't have a mouse and keyboard and can't spin on a dime, uh, then you're gonna be like struggling with the camera to see, and you're gonna be fighting it the whole time. And so the best, why I say that he's already fast enough, it's already enough to deal with him having to do that. So then, and because you don't need any more endurance with him, because it's basically infinite, you just add all your points into Savagery and Blood Harvesting, and that's all you need to do. Even with the Scout build, you can just add it into Savagery and Blood Harvesting, because he doesn't, again, need any endurance. All that Scout's going to do is make him move 15% faster or whatever, and his stamina regenerate slower, so it's not really all that hurtful. He can make up for it just by overhead running everywhere. Okay, so we've talked Cook, you're the highlight master, and the locker. We talked Hitch, you're the trap king. You know, we didn't talk about hidden traps, but I'll just give it a little quick mention here. Hitch traps, you can. Screw it, we'll go back in at the end. We'll go back in. We'll go back for it because hitch traps are very specific, and and they're fixing some of them. So I need to show you guys. Johnny. Johnny has many a build that can be useful. Even a Blood Johnny can actually run relatively good. It may look like I'm running a Blood Johnny, but I'm not. So I wanted to make sure that he has 25 Blood Harvesting. Or like if I don't run that, as you see, he has 18. So I added, he has 16 Blood Harvesting naturally. So I added 2 in, and then I'm running that just to make it so that when I feed Grandpa, he has 100 blood. Like, that's a full level. Because what's the point in getting a kill if your blood is worth nothing to Grandpa? Like, I mean, feeding half a tank of blood isn't going to help anything. If you need level 1, if you need well, you ain't getting it off of that. So, always run 25 blood harvesting. Like I said, it's just a must. Then it's kind of whatever you want to choose. Johnny is great. There's 2 great builds with him. I went extra damage and speed build, but there's infinite swing build with Johnny, which where he has fired up, and it's the other way I picked. I think it's over here. Yeah. Yeah, the regeneration's slower. Yeah, it's that one. That's one of them, easily tuckered out. You can use less stamina with his swing, so you can just swing forever, but then it takes forever to recharge. So that's kind of a little bit of a fun build. Instead of Scout, you can go with... See, I went with Scout and well, but you can also go with Fired Up instead, and do a slight variation on the build that I'm using now. You can still take all the damage all the way up, but then at the last minute, go over here and choose Fired Up. And instead of having the extra movement speed, then you'll just have infinite stamina. So then you wouldn't... all you would need to put points into endurance for is how many swings you want before you have to let go of your recharge button. Because with Fired Up, you can recharge your stamina by letting go of your sprint button for about 3 seconds. It's really not that bad. Now, I do need to change Beatdown. As fun as it is, it takes too dang long. So does Choker, though. Do the liver and onions. Yeah, so with his ability, we're going to talk... I mean, I've always just done this way. It seems to be the best. Quicker recharge, 40%. The range of clues, or how far you can see the footprints away, and then analyze it faster. You could do the hot and cold. It'll tell you if they're fresh, but realistically, most of them are fresh. Like, if you're seeing footprints, they're usually not too far from you. And at least in my opinion, because for the most part, they're not going long distances away. Sometimes you'll get a footprint upstairs and they're already downstairs. But like I said, for the most part with Johnny, you're just going to be doing patrols. On occasion, you'll be checking and find a footprint that you'll chase down. But for the most part, you're just going to be catching people off guard because he has such a low family radius. He's kind of quiet until he's right up on him, and then he's just a blender when he catches you. So that is a great He is a good character to play, but he's not the best, and the reason is because he's just in your face damage. He doesn't have any slowdown to him. You can't hold the victims back at all. Sissy is with her dress up, but anyway, Sissy is great as a Bloodmaster. She's also one of or probably the best chaser. But and that's because she can get the poison through the gaps, which is going to slow down the victims, looping you, make them do the whole rubber leg thing, and so on and so forth. But particularly, she gets this perk, and Hitchhiker can get it too. But you can actually go through the gaps faster than the victims with this. Funny enough, you go through at a faster pace. It's just they usually go through first, so you still can't catch them. But nonetheless. You can actually outrun the victims through the gaps with this perk. It's a great one to run. I personally think that Scout is more necessary on her. She is a little slow at running without it. Fired Up is a great perk to run, but then you again sacrifice blood. That said, at 38 blood, you can pick up 4 buckets and get 4 bucket 100s. If you have 35 blood and this perk, you can get 3 bucket 100s. Just a thing to keep in mind about blood harvesting. Little tip there. Nancy, I don't really care much for her. She's just kind of useless because she's so slow. It's like having Cook without locks. And instead, she's got the gap traps like the barbed wire, but they can just be disarmed too easy. You can't force a player to hit your traps like you can with Hitchhiker, which I'll explain a little bit at the end of the video here when I go back in with Hitchhiker, just to show you guys what I mean about how to place his traps in a hidden way. But so with Nancy, pretty much the meta build right now is using. You can use Hurt 'em, but what is it? This Wait a Second is pretty potent. The main one, though, is, what was it? Poison Claws. Yeah, Poison Claws and Pins and Needles are the 2 perks that are just meta with her. Basically, Pins and Needles is going to give you a chance to not consume a barbed wire by putting it down, 25% chance, so you can pull it up and put it down 4 times, and then get a free one, pretty much, or you just get it free the first time sometimes. This gives you the Sleight of Poison effect for 8 seconds. Now, if you have these 2 perks, Nancy is useful, but only on a small map. On a big map, she's just underwhelming, I guess is the way to put it. Even with Scout, a little underwhelming. That said, you can still have some fun with her. If you like it, buy her, have a little bit of fun, play it out. Let's see. We're gonna do hands. So, talking big old handy here. Any way you play hands is kind of acceptable. I mean, your job with him is mainly watching stuff. So anything else you're doing with him is just extra help for your team. I found that probably the best perk on him is going to be Fired Up right here. Since he doesn't have Scout no more, Fired Up is going to be the best because you can just recharge stamina so fast. And it's going to help because he's kind of slow and lumbering now without Scout. And so you're going to get outran by the victims. And by the time you catch him, you're going to only have enough stamina for like 1 swing. So that's going to help you because you just release it right before you run. And plus, I mean, you get rubber boots for Nancy's house going this way, so it is useful. You don't got to turn off the gen if you just want to run it over. That said, you can get Tenderizer, Door Slam him, Big Swings. There is other perks that are good with him. It's kind of to each their own. As far as his personal perks, I find, so Heart Attack is a fun one. It makes them bleed out faster. So how the hearts on the right side of the victim screen, about down there, change color. It makes them, if you hit them with this, it makes them bleed out faster for 180 seconds. So if they were on red, then they're gonna be bleeding like if they were on orange level, or if it's orange, they're gonna be bleeding like they were on purple, or purple then black, which is at the end you're just at a constant bleed out. Unless you're moving at a solid walk speed, you'll just constantly bleed out if your heart is on the black mode. So you want to keep that in mind. That'll make them bleed out faster and make the game end quicker is a good perk for him. Blood buckets, of course. Now, like I said, if you run blood buckets, you need 35 blood harvesting. That's the best way to run it over the top. You'll have 3 buckets. We'll give you 101 blood, instant level for Grandpa. Don't gotta waste time, no frills. So if you run blood bucket, run 35 blood harvesting. Yeah, put that point back. Yeah, and then if you don't run Blood Bucket, run whatever you want. But Barrier Breaker is useful with hands. If you have Leatherface, you do not need Barrier Breaker. Enjoy the freedom. Other than that, that's pretty much it with him. Just monitor your stuff. His main tree. There's really like 2 ways to run it. You can run the cooldown, the stamina barge cost, and instant trap, or you can just run straight up to get the free trap up here. So when you rip stall your first time, you'll get a free trap, but it goes away after that. It's only 1 use, so I mean it's give or take useful, I guess. But the one that I find the most is, or the one that everyone seems to be using is, this reduces your barge cost, so it only takes 3/4 of a bar of stamina instead of a whole bar. And then reduce rip stall cooldown by 30%, gives you the bigger boost versus this is like 15 or whatever. And then up here is increase your barge damage. Now the barge is particular. You can charge it by holding your barge button, whatever it is, circle on PlayStation, I think B on Xbox, and it'll deal more damage. It also drains your stamina while you hold it, but then you're stationary. The best way to use the barge is when they're going down the well, chase them to the well, and then use the barge instead of swinging, because you'll deal more damage, and if you have heart attack, they're going to be bleeding out, and it's going to just take more health. You know, it's gonna counteract against or fight against their extra drip if you have that. That's as I said, it's a great strat, running heart attack on hands. But just a thought, there's other perks that he has that are good. You know, you can look at all your perks here and even sort them like this, and by pressing R1 and or R2 and L2 and stuff, and while you're looking at the perks. Most of these, you know, the extra damage, you know, some of them are useful. Concussion or blunt force trauma with him, I didn't find it overly useful. I know some people swear by it, but all it really does is make their screen kind of blurry, and a blurry screen isn't, I mean, it's really relative to the person if that's effective or not, I guess. If you can't run with a blurry screen, or if that messes with you, then I guess it's a win for him. But it didn't personally mess with me if people have it, and I get hit by hands. Bones, I don't run the blood build like everyone else, which is, I think, going straight up with him. I run the full damage build with Bones, because he has good blood anyway. I'm just not rushing it. So basically, I run the free gore bomb, because that way you can always make a bomb out of any bucket. If you've been grabbing buckets, you don't gotta worry, you can just make it anyway. This just lets you deal extra damage with your bombs, so you can go to the toolbox, add some nails to it, and then deals a little more damage. It's useful. If you actually manage to hit them with it, they'll take extra damage. It'll actually matter then. Normally it doesn't really do much, but and then this is going to give you a full tank of blood every time you pick up one of your blown up bombs, which is obviously the perk you want. You know, additional gore bomb could be useful, but not getting a full tank of blood is way less useful. So, and thrilled, yeah, that's stupid. You don't need thrilled just because someone gets hit by a bomb. Bones gets excited. Yay. No. So I did, now he does have a lot of great perks. Bones is a great chaser. He's just slow. So, like, if Sissy or Hitchhiker had either one of these perks, the game would be over, man. Like, if they could go down wells or jump over barricades, the game would be all over. But Bones goes over him a little slower than you want him to. The most useful one is probably the well drop one. You get up pretty quick, about as fast as the victims do. So if you hit the well right when they do, you can get up at roughly the same time and stay on the chase if you're good, if you're quick, if you know what you're doing, know the basement. Now you can run the bleed, or you can run big swings and add more. So you could take a few out of savagery, put some more into endurance, and then run big swings. But with fired up, which is the way I went with him specifically to get fired up, because I personally think it's necessary with either this or scout. It's necessary with almost any character. Like if you don't have one of these with the character or with the killer, then you're not doing them justice, because you're going to be running out of stamina. Either this or scout. Bones doesn't get scout, so I went fired up, and that stamina regen is helpful. He's just never-ending bones. So we're running 45 damage a swing. And then he has Valiant, so if we have a full blood vial, which I found when I'm playing Bones, because I'm a chaser build, I tend to be running around with a full blood vial and not having time to feed, or I'm picking up my bomb and going to go feed, and then end up getting distracted, so I end up with a full blood tank. So I figured I may as well carry that, do a little bit extra damage, maybe in the fight a little quicker. He has a pretty low grappling rating, so winning close encounters is still going to be hard with him. You know, you got to do the slow to fast tap, and you still might not win. It's an effort. He gets 30 blood harvesting naturally. If you want to put it up to 38, you can get 4 bucket 100s, so 25 per bucket, and then take it out of savagery. Like I said, I just went with all damage just to make the chases last quicker. And my second build, as you see, I was doing a little more endurance, testing it out. This one was my this one was, I did a little more endurance in this build with the well drop, and I just wasn't worried about blood at all. But part of it was, why did I put extra endurance? Oh, you know what? I think I took the endurance away later. That's what it was. Yeah, I did, because I didn't need it. Yeah, I remember now. Yeah. And then, so instead of Valiant, I went with the well drop. So that way I can chase him down the wells. You can make it happen sometimes. I don't know, I got a few kills in the beginning with him. He's fun. But most people just play the blood and just level up Grandpa almost instantly. And now, best things last. Real quick, I'm gonna show you guys the key to a successful hitchhiker trap. It's the number one thing that you always want to do, every trap you ever put. We'll do Slaughterhouse, because this is the best example of it. I'm going to go in here.
6 reported cases of suspected food poisoning have led authorities to recall all meat sold through the Delverson meat packing facility outside Coleman, which in turn...
And anyone who watches now, I am gonna download this stream so I can clip it into a shorter video. Cut out all these blank moments, just leaving the yakking and the talking stuff. Sorry, Dallas. Hey. And so, hitchhikers' traps. You can put them in obvious areas, put them in front of locks, block doors. Some people do it just to make their life simpler so they can patrol from a distance or don't have to patrol as hard. Now, me personally, I do the patrolling. Like, I run everywhere. I'm all over the place, and so I like movement. So with my traps, you have to be sneaky. So you could put it like this, but then guess what? They come up to that crawl gap, you know, what's it going to look like? So we'll set it like this, just to show it off, prove the concept. So we go through. So, you know, Connie broke in, because it's always Connie. She goes, she can see the trap right there. You know, it's not as obvious as you want it to be, but it's pretty obvious. You know, so, okay, well, we can't have that now, can we? So, what you want to do is you want to just offset your traps around the gaps. So you see, you just got to put the little prong out there. As long as they step on the prong, the trap counts. It'll suck them into it. So then you come through, you ain't seeing that. The only way you're seeing it is if you did this. But if you got someone on your ass, no, you're coming through here. oop, you're done. If I'm already on you, you're done right there. You're gonna have to maybe make it back through here and hit that well if you're lucky. And that's just 1 point. You know, another thing, if you're hitchhiker playing on this map, trap there, latch the door every time. Every time. Never not do it. That will just save you so many games. Because they don't want to unlatch the door, and they all go through the trap, and they can't see it. So, same with this. You could set it right up against it, but you want to set it back a little ways. You could even offset it. You can put it sideways. Just make sure it's in front of the gap. Especially if the fuse is here. You don't have to use this one. I don't do it all the time. This is a great trap right here in the grass, though. Cuts off the ladder loop there, and it protects your fuse a little bit. If you got to cook, you trap that gap, latch this gate instead of the door there, and your fuse is all safe. Safe and sound. You never got to worry again. So, another idea with hitchhikers traps, you know, you can put them in high traffic areas. I've had, you can put them in obvious areas, like, that's usually what catches experienced players off, is putting them in, like, obvious areas. So if you consider, like, this, like, you know, you're never going to think hitchhiker trap is right here, dude. Like, who's ever going to think that?
Grandpa taught me this little trick.
Like, you know, it's kind of obvious if you know it's there, but, like, you know, I've been running through here as a victim. You know, I went to go like this and go run up there and smack right into that. Or I came down and I was sneaking through the bush here, getting ready, didn't even see it, snap right into it. And man, you better believe I was ready to uninstall. God, I was mad. That hitchhiker was a genius. But then, you know, or you can put it in squeeze points. Like, this is an example of a squeeze point one. You know, there's a small gap here. There's only so much room. They can't go past it. Like, even if they got up to it and they see the prong to remove it, or like the marker to remove it, to disarm trap, you know, and sometimes, or even if they see it through the grass, you know, they're not going to be able to sneak by it, because you don't leave them in the room. You know, they can't fit. It's hard to show you without being able to actually have someone step into it, but squeeze points is a great way to put it. And or other side of barricades, you know, ideas like this. You know, this is always a classic. You know, put it right on the other side of the barricade. Don't put it too close or they'll completely miss it, because you go over a certain distance. So you want to put it back a little bit. And or you can do it sideways like that. That's effective too, because then they just hit it no matter what. And sucks them into it. Another small tip, when trapping a fuse, there's things that can happen on some of the map, or some locations it's worse than others, but sometimes when you put the fuse really close, it can, like, they've been trying to fix it. See, like, now there's a little bit of gap. You used to be able to put it right against the wall underneath it, and it would cause them, when they go to disarm it, if they weren't looking up like this, completely away, or down like this, completely away from the fuse to disarm it, then they would latch onto the fuse halfway through the disarm, and it would cause them to get stuck in the trap. And so it still works on occasion, but the best way I've found to do this, or to still cause it to happen, is by putting it sideways like that. That way when they go to disarm, you can't disarm from this angle. You have to go over here, and it sucks them over, and sometimes they hit the fuse box, or sometimes it sucks them onto the fuse box. It's a great way to put the trap, and it can sometimes save you. Same with in front of the doors, or in front of the locks. Like, you would put it sideways like that in front of the lock. Make it happen. It's a great way to do it. Other side of gaps in the grass, another great spot. Hiding with hitchhiker and sissy is negligible as far as its usefulness goes. You can, you know, when you're wearing the blue pimp suit, though, it's not really effective. But on the other hand, you know, you could be sitting just like this. The problem is that the killers move when you turn your screen. The victims don't. See what I mean? He keeps moving, so no matter what, he's going to keep turning and making it. But, you know, victims also aren't standing around waiting for movement like killers can be. You know, on this map, one of the most useful things a cook can do after you get your locks up as a cook, you can literally stand up here and watch the whole map. You can watch everything. You can see when they're sneaking up there. You can watch when they come out of there. You can watch when they come out of there. You can see them when they go through the cracks, see them when they go there. Stand here with Cook, and you can highlight everything. You get Leatherface or hands to break down this barrier. You can even get a better view going over there. Have a way to block off the ladder. Block off them from getting the valve that sometimes spawns up here. It's not here this time, it's over there. But just for an example of different strats you can use, you know, with Hands and Cook, you definitely want to be, and Johnny, you definitely want to be knocking these down. Nancy, you could trap some of them. So it's a great trap for Nancy, because this one's always getting done. Then you knock down this one so that they just run over here, get stuck in that barbed wire, and then you got them in the barbed wire for the foreseeable future. So you can go and get them. To do the crip walk, you crouch first, then you hold your run button, L1, and then you spam circle. That's the crip walk with Hitchhiker. Works with all characters, just crouch first to get the visual right, because if you try to do it from standing, it looks like this. That doesn't look right, so you gotta get the crouch first, and then you spam circle while holding L1, or LB. And that pretty much completes it. Shut up, chicken. Alright. Now, I think that is roughly all of my character tips off the top of my head, at least as far as quick tips go. Your outfit does matter, I'll say, for victims. As far as blending in goes, the more skin you show, the easier you are to see. So, like, for example, the best Connie outfit is probably the Fern right here, because it's green, she doesn't have too much skin showing. She has a full t-shirt, which hides, but this overalls isn't too bad either, but her red hair is what gives her away most of the time. However, with any of the other characters, you know, you wear the red dress with Virginia, yeah, you're gonna get seen. I don't even have the denim on, shame on me. I don't play Virginia anymore, though. They took away all the perks I cared about with Virginia. They took away Fast Hands, took away Bomb Squad, so what's the point in using Virginia now? Let's get Pink Eye with her gas. But, they did give her the lockpick one, though, which can be, the usefulness, again, is negligible. But, anyway, yeah, your outfit definitely, you want to cater your outfit to how stealthy you're going to be. So if you're a distraction player, like if you're putting in some strength, you're doing some grapples, you're getting annoying, then you want the loudest outfit. I'm more of a medium. I kind of play in between stealth and distraction. I'll hide sometimes, but of course, if you're Leland, you need the summertime outfit. This new denim isn't bad though. I'm gonna play Leland in a few days. Yeah. As far as quick tips go, if anyone wants any quick tips on maps, y'all can let me know. I'm gonna hop off of here, and I need to edit this into a video so I can put it up on the channel. Short one anyway. Edit out some of the dry parts. Other than that, I will see you guys a little bit later. I might hop on for some more games. Not sure yet. I'm gonna get the video out first, and then we'll see what's going on. Alright, later.